prizes and medals. One of my greatest accomplishments, however, was overcoming my stupid suburban prejudice of anti-Semitism. Also, I am a champion tennis player. Just ask Peggy Guggenheim, who I railed on the court time and time again, who says, Esther is a good player, but he crows like a rooster whenever he makes a good stroke. And that's all the truth. I used a lot of his quotes in that. All right, so Michael did his thing again, and he painted again for me, which he's been fabulous to do. And actually, most of my poems came first, and then he would paint to like keep up with my poems. But when I saw that I just had to write about Vincent van Gogh, and I know everybody has, and I know it gets boring, but I saw the movie Loving Vincent. And the whole thing about Gauguin and how they had fought, and perhaps Gauguin cut his ear. We don't know. Then later on, we were researching going to Provence, and I got really fascinated with the fact that the matadors will cut off the ear of the bull and give it to their lady love to show that they're, fearless. And he was in that area when all this was going on. And I think probably because he was so, schizophrenic or whatever was happening with him, I wrote a villanelle. And it was the first time I wrote a villanelle. It was very hard to do, actually. But I did it. Villanelle with Vincent. And then Van Gogh learned that matadors will cut off the ear of a bull to show courage and present it to their lady. A matador can never be afraid unless his pride is given to the light. And thus, dear Vincent knew the price he paid. For company and love he always prayed. He prayed soft fields would dazzle him with light. A matador can never be afraid. And with a final thrust his future made, a swagger as he dances near the light. And then poor Vincent knew the price he paid. He gave his lady love the gift he made. It glistened like a star at morning light. A matador can never be afraid. In France, he learned of matadors who made a show of taming passion with a fight. Was then our Vincent knew the price he paid. Crow, sunflower, he watched the colors fade. A swirling cape, a star, both made of light. And then dear Vincent knew the price he paid. A matador must never be afraid. Thank you. I was also fascinated with Isadora Duncan, and she lived in Corfu after the tragedy that took her 2 children, and that was because the car that they were in, the children and the nurse, the chauffeur got out to turn to get it going again, and when he got out of the car, it started to roll, and it rolled into the Seine, and they died. And she was already, I think, a free spirit because she was doing her art with, ballet, without ballet and that kind of thing. But after that, I think she went mad. And some of the poems I've written about is how, and I read a lot about what she was doing. And she went to Corfu and she pretended that she had brought their ashes to lay on the beach. But in reality, she was eating the ashes. She was eating them down, because she was their mother and she loved them. So I'll actually read you that one first. Corfu Ash. The dance is love, it is only love, it alone, and that is enough, Isadora Duncan. Maybe it was the full moon, a Corfu blue eye, reminding me that the river floods, roofs lose their tile and leak. Children drown, children go into a river to play. A full moon, any moon at all, reminds me. And rain, blue pelting tears, a lamp, a child crying. She is obsessed with the tarot, they whisper. She is drunk with mother's love. But what they didn't know is that instead of bringing their ashes to the beach of Corfu, like I said, I hoarded them and pretended the leavings from an English grate was them. While on this island, waiting for peace and their father, the moon swelled like my belly did once. I ate them and drank them down. It was easy as sticking your tongue out for snow. the marmalade, the chicken and potatoes with garlic. I seasoned my days with them. I sucked them through a straw, in my tea and my wine, in my toast with jam, in my throat. I loved them. Then I knew looking up that the moon, she was leaving me too, in slivers, night after restless night, drop by bleeding drop, until there would be nothing left when I drank my last bottle of a high when I finished them. And so I also wrote that Deirdre Beatrice was the little girl that died. And she went down with her brother, and when they pulled out the bodies, they were holding hands, and they had to break apart their hands to bury them. So when I read stuff like that, I get really, I have to write about it. It agitates me, let's say. And so this is about Deirdre. I'm here in a villa by the sea, dying of despair, Isadora Duncan, and that's her down in Corfu. Mama, I held Patrick's hand tight, just as you told me, when crossing the street, because the water was cold and I was scared. The river rushed over us like a blurry dream. The fish swimming past were angels. Though I could not speak, I mouthed to Patrick, don't be afraid. I thought, we are going to a beautiful place where mermaids will comb and braid my hair. We will never worry and always play. When I looked up through the tangled water at the sky, I could see lilies and frogs. Damselflies and dragons became bright cobweb light, just like their wings. Oh, that light, it lit up the turquoise blue sky, and I mouthed to Patrick, don't be afraid. Heaven was pulling us into its arms, just like you did, Mama. Mama, this place is so pretty, a world without end. Why do the cobwebs in the angel's wings seem to disturb the light?